No Kevin Love, no problem for the Cavs tonight as they beat the Miami Heat in the final regular season matchup between the two teams, 114-88 here at the Q. Chris Fedor, Chris Haynes, Joe Vardon to recap this one. And Chris, after the way that the game went against Miami down in Miami last time, it seemed like the Cavs came out looking to try and send a message.
Why are you yelling in my ear, Fedor?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Trying to drown out the sound around us.
I mean, tonight what you missed were Cavs dancers carrying chairs right behind the computer that we filmed this on.
And they much rather, I bet you, our viewers probably much rather see
that than me. There's no
probably about that one.
What was the question again, Fedor? Can you repeat that?
There goes General Manager
David Griffin.
You guys doing like an eye check?
Come get in the video, Griff. You never know what to expect.
Happy General Manager.
There you go.
There's a lot of reasons to be happy after this game tonight for the Cavs.
I remember that.
Yep.
But no, Griffin had a huge role in why the Cavaliers are playing so well. You know, the moves that they made, Timothy Mozgov, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, enough said. But tonight in particular, man, they handled the Miami Heat. And Dwayne Wade, he went out, but even when he was in, they had no answer. They could not. The Cavaliers were on point. The defense was on point. The rotation was on point. Iman Shumpert coming off the bench, getting deflections, getting the steals out in transition. This team is clicking on all cylinders right now, and it's really scary. They weren't doing it the last couple of games. Right now, they stepped it up. Kyrie Irving came and played. We'll talk about him later on, but I was impressed with what I saw.
Joe, earlier this season, LeBron said something along the lines of he knows what he has to do for this team in order for them to win.
Right.
And tonight he said something that really struck me as well. He said, I have shifted my mindset with the playoffs right around the corner. And it seemed like he was alluding to going in the post more, knowing that that's something that he's probably going to have to do for the Cavs.
No, well, I think actually that going into the post is a metaphor for being more aggressive and being more assertive. He actually said last Friday that he doesn't like being down there all the time, and that is how his career has played out. I mean, he's actually complained to Eric Spoelstra when he played for the Heat about going into the post too much. But tonight he wanted to set the tone. It was interesting. This morning we were talking to LeBron about, have you ever played a game that was personal to you? And the answer, of course, is yes. But he didn't want to say which ones because then he said that becomes a story. And he acted tonight like this one was personal. And part of it is he went right at Luol. I mean, he purposefully caught the ball with his back to the basket and tried to turn around and go right to the hole. I also thought that with the message that he was sending, it was not just that I'm going to be more aggressive and assertive, but I think it was more directed specifically towards the Heat. And I think about Dragic and Whiteside. I mean, those are two guys who are Heat players and important Heat players who weren't his guys. So it's almost like easier for him to send that message to them.
No, I think that's a good point. And you talk about how LeBron James has been playing in the post. He said, like Joe said, it's a metaphor because it's about to head into the playoffs. You don't want to go in the post and bang your body up 82 games in the season, but he realized as you get to the postseason, when the games slow down, when it's all about grinding out type of basketball, LeBron is going to have to be in the post. He's going to have to be out there and get some easy buckets and he's effective that way. He still doesn't want to do it throughout the whole course of the season and wear his body down. This is the point where now he's refreshed. He can do it, get down there, and get some easy buckets, and that's going to translate over to postseason success, hopefully.
Earlier in this video, you mentioned the bench bunch for the Cavs. Now it seems like they have found an 8, maybe a 9-man rotation, something that head coach David Blatt is much more comfortable with than he was at the beginning of the season.
When Iman Shumpert, Matthew Dellavedova, Tristan Thompson are playing that back. This team right here is borderline because you can't. Dellavedova getting 10 plus. Playing the fish like that. How many times has Dellavedova been successful in penetrating off the pick and roll and throwing the lob pass to either Timothy Mozgov or Tristan Thompson? Let me tell you how that's effective. Teams, for some reason, I don't know, maybe Dellavedova was doing something well, but usually you draw the defense if you're a threat to drive. And somehow Dellavedova is getting around the corner, convincing the opposing team that he's a threat to score at the basket. And they're coming over just enough where he can throw that lob pass. Now, if he can continue fooling people like that, because he's doing a great job of it, I don't know what it is. Maybe he's quicker on the court than what I can see from way up there. But he's doing a heck of a job out there as far as being a playmaker. Being a playmaker and hitting spot-up jumpers, I don't know what you can say. I don't know what can happen.
It's funny, Chris. To your point, first of all, Dellavedova is now the third best three-point shooter on this team.
Yeah.
But to your point, I was sitting in media row, and I was next to a scout from an opposing team, and he kept asking me why the defense continued to collapse on Matthew Dellavedova instead of inviting him to take a tough two, because everybody knows Matthew Dellavedova so far this year is a better three-point shooter than he is a two-point shooter. So even people from the opposition are wondering the thing that you just wondered there.
I get that. I wonder it, but I don't want to take anything away from Dellavedova. He's playing well.
You're right.
He's doing what he needs to do. But, that's just something that I've always been wondering about for the last couple of months. He's just throwing lobs like crazy.
Yeah.
Kyrie, he was a game-time decision, listed as questionable for this one. He missed shoot-around with an illness. He played brilliantly tonight, 23 points, and he mentioned how he doesn't know exactly why it is that he's able to play so well when he's sick, but now averages 25 points per game when he's sick this year.
Yeah, you sound sick.
Yeah, I am sick.
He didn't sound or look real sick to me, but
we have a different illness, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. I guess more than one bug out there. He was fantastic tonight, and I think when Dragic came over, there was some talk about how much better he made the Heat and how competitive he is and how tough he is on both sides of the ball. And Kyrie handled him tonight. That was not close. The last time the Cavs and the Heat played, Dragic played well. It was the last game of a 4-game and 5-night stretch for the Cavs. Kyrie struggled a bit. It was totally the reverse tonight, and Kyrie had his way.
All right, before we get out of here, Miami has slid down to 8. Brooklyn is now number 7 in the Eastern Conference. Cavs at the 2 spot. Just curious, from your perspective, both of you, do you think it would be better for the Cavs to be tested in the first round because some guys haven't been into the postseason, or do you think it would be better for them to sweep whatever team, maybe go 5 games with whatever team, and rest up for the second round of the playoffs?
I think the latter, what you just said. Miami Heat, even though they had it, but going to Brooklyn, man, who wants to go to Brooklyn, man? Let me get off of that. That's my own.
You just want to go to Miami, South Beach, bringing the Heat.
But I think Miami would give them a task in the first round. I still think the Cavs could get them in 6, maybe 5.
Okay.
But I think just the emotional drain of everything that comes along with LeBron, Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade, all this stuff, I think it'd be a lot in the first round. But no, I think you want the easiest path because you want to go into the later parts of the playoffs pretty healthy, pretty non-nicked up. And I think that's what they want to do, so I think it's fine.
You agree? Last year, San Antonio was tested in round 1 against Dallas, went on to win the finals.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, the Boston Celtics, after the great regular season that they had, went 7 games against the Atlanta Hawks, and they thought that was good for them.
Well, have either of you ever been a part of a season that had the circus atmosphere that this season has had?
No.
I don't think anybody has.
And we have not been to one playoff game yet this year. If they're tested in the first round, think of how ridiculous things will be around this team, and that would actually concern me. If they're tested early and one thing leads to another and it starts to snowball, how much trouble could they get in? I don't think there's anyone out there, certainly in the first round and most likely in the second round, that could possibly beat the Cavs. So that's not the concern. But the amount of stress that they have to go through in the first round, I am sure they would rather win.
All right, a final here tonight, 114-88 against the Miami Heat. Cavs and Heat, they split the season series. Cavs get this one, 17-game winning streak here at the Q.
Let's throw this out here real quick, Peter. Let's give props to David Blatt.
Okay, absolutely.
Coach of the month.
Sure.
Who would have thought this a couple months ago? Right now, he's done an unbelievable job. No matter what you want to say, some of his shortcomings or whatever it is.
I'm going to captain tomorrow.
At a certain point, you got to give credit where credit's due.
Right, and the other thing is, not every trade in the NBA is going to make a team better. Ask Milwaukee about that. Ask the Dallas Mavericks about that. They went backwards after trading for Rajon Rondo. David Blatt absolutely deserves credit for getting these pieces to fit. 3 key pieces to fit on the fly. And that, I think, is a good sign for the postseason, because in the postseason, it's about adjusting on the fly and making changes on the fly. And he has already shown, I think, in the regular season, some capacity to do that. So, yes, kudos to him, absolutely. Continue to check out cleveland.com/Cavs for Chris Haynes and Joe Vardon. I'm Chris Fedor. We will talk to you Sunday when the Cavs take on the Chicago Bulls. Later.